Hello and welcome to grammar class. Today's lesson is the second conditional sentence versus the third conditional sentence. But first up, what is a conditional sentence? Well, as the name suggests, a conditional sentence has two parts: a condition in the subordinate clause and a result or outcome in the main clause. In short, a conditional sentence consists of a condition and its likely result. For example, the sentence, "If you work hard, you will be successful," is a conditional sentence. In this sentence, "if you work hard" is the condition and "you will be successful" is the consequence or result. Obviously, "if you work hard" is the dependent or if clause and "you will be successful" is the independent or main clause. The if clause contains the condition and the other clause or the main clause contains the result. In English grammar, there are four types of conditionals: the zero conditional, the first conditional, the second conditional, and the third conditional. But in this video, we are going to focus on the second and the third conditionals. So let's study the second conditional sentence first. The question is, what type of a condition does the second conditional express? You see, the second conditional contains a hypothetical, that is imaginary or a wishful condition of the present or the future. Such a hypothetical condition of the present or the future time is merely wishful or imaginary, and it's almost impossible and very unlikely to come true. And therefore, the result or consequence of such a hypothetical condition is also merely wishful and very unlikely to come true in the present or the future. Well, now let's look at the clause structures of the second conditional sentence. You see, in the second conditional sentence, the if clause, which is a subordinate clause, has a simple past tense verb in the subjunctive mood. And that's why we cannot use was in the if clause of the second conditional sentence. We must always use were. So the structure of the if clause is if plus subject plus simple past tense in the subjunctive mood. However, in the result clause, which is the principal clause, we use the structure of subject plus the auxiliary verb would or might or could and the first or base form of the principal verb. Remember, in a conditional sentence, the conditional clause or the if clause may come at the beginning or after the main clause in the sentence. Now here are some examples of the second conditional on your screen. If I were a bird, I would fly in the sky. Here in the if clause, there is a hypothetical or wishful condition of my becoming a bird. But this condition cannot come true. It's merely wishful. So in the main clause, the result or consequence is also hypothetical and wishful. I would fly is an unrealistic or fanciful statement. Sometimes in such conditional sentences, the subject and the auxiliary verb are inverted to replace the conjunction if. In place of if, we might use the subjunctive verb were at the start of the sentence. Were I a bird, I would fly in the sky. If we knew his whereabouts, we would bring him back. In this second conditional, the if clause has the simple past knew, which indicates a hypothetical condition, meaning I do not know his whereabouts at present, and it is almost impossible for me to know it, but I do wish to know his whereabouts and bring him back. If the tree could speak, he would tell 1,000 stories. Here too, the if clause expresses an imaginary condition. In reality, it's absurd. It cannot come true. So the result is also hypothetical or imaginary. Look at the verb forms. In the if clause, could plus verb 1, and in the result clause, would plus V1. I would buy a palace if I won a lottery. In this sentence, the if clause or the conditional clause comes second. It expresses a hypothetical condition which is very unlikely to come true. there is very little or almost no chance of my winning a lottery. So this imaginary or wishful condition has a hypothetical consequence too. I would buy a palace is a merely wishful and hypothetical statement, very unlikely to ever come true. If I had lots of money, I would travel around the world. Simple past tense had in the if clause and would plus first form of the verb travel in the result clause. Fact is, I don't have lots of money at present, so obviously the condition here is merely wishful or imaginary. Its fulfillment is very unlikely, so the result of traveling around the world is also hypothetical. If ever I met him, I would ask him just one question. In the if clause, the use of met in the simple past tense subjunctive mood instead of meet in the simple present tense indicates that it's a hypothetical or imaginary condition. It means it is almost impossible for me to ever meet him. Hence the verb would ask also shows an imaginary result of me asking him a question in the future. Now what about the third conditional or the type 3 conditional sentence? Well, the third conditional sentence expresses an imaginary or hypothetical past activity or event. Mind you, past activity or event that did not come true. So it's all about an imaginary condition of the past that did not come true. In other words, the third conditional sentence indicates an afterthought or a regret that something might have happened in the past but did not happen. Now see the structures of the type 3 conditional sentence on your screen. In the conditional or if clause, we have the verb in the past perfect tense subjunctive mood after the subject. While in the main clause or result clause, we use the auxiliary would or could or might followed by have and the third form or past participle of the main verb. Remember, in the third conditional, the result is also a hypothetical action or event of the past that did not happen. So it's all about an unfulfilled condition or wish of the past and its hypothetical consequence. Now up there on your screen are some examples of the third conditional sentence. If I had worked hard, I would have been successful. In the if clause, the past perfect subjunctive verb had worked indicates that it's a hypothetical unfulfilled wish or condition of the past. And its imaginary result would have been successful also relates to the past. The sentence also means that I did not work hard in the past, so I was not successful. In this way, the third conditional indicates an afterthought of regret. In the sentence, if he had driven carefully, he would not have met with the accident. We have the past perfect verb had driven in the if clause. It indicates a hypothetical and unfulfilled condition of the past. So in the result clause also, we have a hypothetical or imaginary action. The fact is, he drove carelessly, so he met with an accident. But now the speaker is imagining just the opposite situation. In the sentence, we could have caught the flight if we had left earlier. The conditional clause comes second with a past perfect verb had left. This sentence means we left home late, so we could not catch the flight. But the speaker hypothetically suggests that it was possible for them to catch the flight if they had left earlier. In this way, third conditionals denote an afterthought regarding a past activity that did not take place. Now look at the last example. If you had sent for a doctor in time, the patient might have survived. As a matter of fact, a doctor was not called in time, so the patient didn't survive. But now the speaker wishfully suggests, suppose a doctor had come in time, there was every possibility of the patient's survival. In this way, a type 3 conditional sentence hypothetically refers to a past situation or event that did not come true. At the same time, we also learn here that in the if clause, the conjunction if is replaced by inverting the auxiliary verb had with the subject you. Had you sent for a doctor in time? the patient might have survived. In third conditionals, use the past perfect tense in the conditional clause, and in the result clause, we have the auxiliary would or could or might plus have and the third form of the verb. Finally, we have what is known as the mixed conditional sentence. Now that we know the differences between the second and the third conditionals, let me tell you that a mixed conditional is a combination of the second and the third conditional sentences. You see, in English grammar, there are two types of mixed conditionals. Type 1 is a combination of a past hypothetical condition and its imaginary result in the present or future. Obviously, the condition is of type 3 conditional sentence, while the result is of the type 2 conditional sentence. The other type of mixed conditional is one in which we have a present imaginary or hypothetical condition and its past hypothetical result. Well, this is a mixed conditional sentence in which we have a condition of the type 2 conditional sentence while a result of the type 3 conditional sentence. Never mind, viewers, however tough or difficult these concepts may sound, I am going to explain these very clearly through a few examples. In the first example, if he had married her, he would be a happy man today. The if clause has a past perfect verb. This past perfect tense verb, had married, indicates that it's a condition of type 3 conditional sentence. This condition refers to a hypothetical situation that did not come true in the past. However, in the principal clause, the result is of type 2 conditional sentence. The verb form would plus the first form of the verb would be shows this. He would be a happy man today. So this is also a hypothetical or imaginary result pertaining to the present time. The hypothetical condition relates to the past time, but its imaginary result is of the present time. That's how it's a mixed conditional sentence. If I were you, I would have quit this job long ago. In this sentence, the conditional clause has a simple past subjunctive verb were, denoting an imaginary or wishful condition of the second conditional type. It refers to the present or future time. But then in the result clause, we have the verb would have quit. Would have quit long ago, suggesting that it's a hypothetical result of the past time like we see in type 3 conditional sentences. In this way, it's a mixed conditional sentence of type 2 and type 3 conditionals. If the flight had not been cancelled, we would be flying to Paris now. As you can see, the if clause contains a hypothetical condition of the past time had not been cancelled. Obviously, the flight was cancelled and so we are not flying to Paris now. So the first part of the sentence or the conditional clause is of type 3 conditional sentence, but the result clause has a hypothetical or imaginary result pertaining to the present time. Would be flying to Paris now. This is an imaginary result of the second conditional type. Hence, it's a mixed conditional sentence as well. If we had any clue, we would have told the police. We see that the if clause has a simple past tense verb had and not a past perfect tense verb. This shows that it's an imaginary or hypothetical condition of the present or future time which is very unlikely to come true. But the result in the principal clause clearly relates to the past time, would have told the police. This verb structure or verb form is used in type 3 conditional sentences. So once again we have a mixed conditional sentence here. That's it. Hopefully you liked and benefited from the video. Please make sure to like, comment, share and subscribe to our channel for more grammar content. And please do not forget to click the notification bell so as not to miss any of our enriching grammar videos. Thanks for watching.